with you, Matt Walter. He's going to also to co-chair this webinar with me and to explain the concepts behind Winget. And my name is Adis Hugo. I'm Director of Product Technology with Skybow, and both Matt and me are more on this technical side of what Skybow does, and we are going to show you why is it a good idea to use Skybow Solution Studio Online to build this kind of solutions.
Yeah, and we have a cool solution today that you're gonna build in the next 45 minutes, and we have already a lot of different possibilities. Everything built on SharePoint.
So we didn't prepare many slides. I don't think anybody of you really wants to see slides. So we will just have 2 or 3 for reference, what we have been doing, and including some screenshots of what we are going to do today for your later reference. But just a short introduction. Why SharePoint Online? Well, we basically all know why SharePoint. Why would you build the share solutions on SharePoint Online? Well, that's self-explanatory. It's really a SharePoint Online is a platform that's available in the large number of the companies already. All major players, all large and medium enterprises and small enterprises as well have Office 365 already there. Inside Office 365, SharePoint Online is present in the most plans. So it is a no-brainer why we should use that actually to build some cool business solutions to support our business processes. It gives us really quick start, so we can really quickly start to building lists and libraries, creating data structures, creating relations between lists. So we can start pretty well. And we already have the web interface present there. We have data structures. We have basic input masks. And not to forget, SharePoint Online is a very secure platform. Office 365 secured by most relevant European and US security standards, and certified by the most valid security standard. And permissions and security concepts that are present in SharePoint since 17, 18 years now in advance are among the best ones and advanced ones that are standard in this industry. So users are already there, company already have it, users already have access, and if you already have everything there, building it on SharePoint, building solutions on top of SharePoint Online is a kind of natural way to go and expected way to go. Why should we do it on with Skybow Solution Studio? Matt, are you taking this one?
Yeah, there are a couple of good reasons for using our Solution Studio. One of the most important is the data modeling. Of course, SharePoint is already very powerful in creating lists and storing data in there. But we have a new structure we will bring on SharePoint, on top of SharePoint, all based on SharePoint standard lists and using SharePoint lookups, SharePoint standard lookups as well, what we call dossiers or case file, how you want to call it.
Let's stick with dossier. It's a Swiss German, and we are a Swiss company, and we love to leave some Swiss flavor in it.
Exactly, but it's a master slave behavior kind of thing. And of course, you all know the limitations of SharePoint forms, UI stuff. So as well, next to forms as well, design, CSS things. This can be all done directly in Solution Studio. Of course, calculations, and not only things in form, but as well calculations that are done in the background, like aggregation or metadata inheritance. That is very important to have them on documents. And it's all on all of the new modern technologies, using everything client-side, JavaScript, webhooks, and the latest technologies for this. And The thing you
Yeah,
can see today is was done by Addis in less than 1 day. I was really impressed when I
thank
saw
you.
what he achieved in less than 1 day. That's
So we did it with our favorite partners from Finland. So a lot of kudos goes also to them. So yeah, let's start with this actually. Let's start working with this. I'm going to show you, we are going now today to speak about timesheet, so of a typical timesheet management. So this is something that every consulting company or every company which does services to other companies very often needs to work. You have weeks, at least that's a German way of building this. You are collecting those times. You are checking your time based on the weeks. So we have our major unit is a time sheet, which is always per employee, per work week, per status. So let's say I would have an open timesheet for this week, which would then later go to some approval process. From open, it would be switched to I don't know, to submitted, from submitted to approved, and so on. Of course, this timesheet needs to collect times, the typical times from what did you do, what did I do from when to them for which customer and which project. And those those times are collected in the list employee time. Here on the schema, you see to the left side time. And this is the standard that I need to say for which employee I was doing that, which employee was doing that, for which customer, which project, which sub-project, which work type. Work types are very interesting because one employee can often switch roles between customers and say, sometimes I'm a software architect, but sometimes I'm a senior developer, and sometimes I'm a project manager. Very interesting that each of those work types has different hourly rates. So we also need to calculate and recalculate that. Of course, we need to say from when to when was it all done? Did I have a pause? Did I have a break? And from how many hours? Was this item, is this item billable? So can we put that in an invoice, or it was the pro bono? And of course, we need to calculate how many hours we did and how many should we invoice customer for this part. I mentioned that we are going to have a approval process on top of this timesheet. So on the right side, I have my list of activities. Activities are basically generated automatically each time when a list goes to approval process. So when I create a new timesheet, it's in an open stage, there's no activities. First time I submit this, my superiors will say, okay, it goes to a stage submitted, so this submitting is tracked, and then when my superior approves it or declines it, it goes to its further activities are added. So activities, think of activities as some type of logging feature the timesheet goes through. Timesheets, of course, and obviously have a list that they depend on, and those are a list of customers, list of projects, and some projects, where some projects are depending on projects. I already mentioned work types, and employees are not a list. We are just going to use standard people picker, standard user directory of SharePoint Online for employees. This will be my data model. And yeah, I still do have some documents there. I want to store the documents with each timesheet. You would think of that like of a place where you would store purchase orders and similar stuff. With that, I'm not going to show this slide. I'm going to actually to show you a working timesheet solution as we have done it, and then later to show you how we have done it from scratch. So this is my entry page, my first page. You first see that this has all been cleaned up. The whole interface, the left standard SharePoint left navigation has been hidden from here because we said, okay, we don't need it. In this case, it will just confuse the user. We have replaced it with skybow action links. We are going to talk about them a bit later because they are major part of our approval process. We have the list of timesheets here. So think now of a timesheet. Think now if you would have few hundred employees which are working for a few years, this list could be really, really long. And this is where the skybow can also help to say, especially in conjunction with problems SharePoint long list, where I can say, hey, give me really only the list for my user John, and this is immediately sorted, or give me only all those lists where the status is open. Now, obviously, those are also open here, or you can, of course, combine those two or 3 or more, how much you want conditions, and on that way really easy and fast way navigate to this one. I can easily add a timesheet from here, and I'm going to do this now. For example, for this case, I'm logged in here to transmit. Yeah, I'm recognized as a user here. As you see, I don't need to have need to add any item here. I would say this is the timesheet for 10th calendar week. This is how we do it normally in Germany with these calendar weeks for 2017. Once I save this, my timesheet for this week will be created, and I do have it here. If I open an existing timesheet, let's say I will open this one. This is info required, so I can still edit this sheet. It's in info required mode. There we are. I see here a few things. I see my my work for this week. I have small done on developing the new Contoso website. This is my sub project. I was doing some job as a software architect, some job as a senior developer, and so on and so forth. You see here how much break I had there, hours, and the invoicing are calculated automatically as well as the week totals. I have here a graphical representation of this week because it's now in info required. So as long as it's in info required, I can still here add work and change the document. This is probably because my manager told me, hey, this is not complete, add some things there. In activities here, I have here existing activities. I have some existing document, and I have here, I'm coming to that later, I have here a graphical overview of the stuff I have done this week, like configuring search, and this is how many hours I have worked on that, and this is how many, what money could be billed for this one. I can, of course, add now a new work for this week, and you see that this form for editing this work is will be pretty intelligent one. So I'm going to say I created user navigation for customer Contoso. I do have only one, and this will be, let's say, for the new website. Now I'm getting the projects which are only connected to the website, so this will be a part of the user interface. So I say now I was working here as a project manager, and I will pick up today's date just to make it simple. I was working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with 1 hour of break. So notice now these 8 hours are calculated properly. This is exactly what I want to do, but to invoice is still 0 because this is not billable time. As soon as I click here on billable, I'm getting here 720 euros. If I change this now to software architect, this will be probably the same price. If I change to developer, you see how the price here decreases. So this this form is immediately intelligent and doing those calculations for me in background. So when I save this one, I'm of course getting this kind of stuff, but I can also edit this form in the batch edit mode, because I don't want to actually edit this one by one and to enter my times one by one. So what we also have here is a batch edit mode for this week. So you get a nice clean sheet view with all those things which are doing done. Created user navigation is also there. And look what is happening here. If I change here in hours, I said I worked until 6 o'clock. Let's say instead of 5 o'clock. This, of course, is changing immediately again. If I change from developer to project manager, this again has been changing. Developer, project manager. Okay, this will be changing again accordingly here. As soon as I was changing those things here, like total hours and total to invoice, are being changed immediately. When I save this, this is of course then reflected to all the other stuff. Okay, changed because those made by concurrency by another user. So I think I know who is also working with me. Let's just save this as the end. You see here we have a nice representation of all the timesheets with all those icons to easily show us which are open, with where is the info required, and what else is going on there. This is from a timesheet perspective. What we have been doing. I just want to show two more things. I want to show my own overview, how much I did work from time to time, and you will see here a graphical representation. I can already tell you these are actually Google charts embedded inside our pages here. I'm going to show you later how to do it directly from Solution Studio Online, instead except of having fun with Internet Explorer, as I'm just having right now. You can also actually put here timesheet analysis. For this, we have used actually Power BI to actually analyze those very timesheets and to get interactive dashboards. I'm just not sure if this is going to work in Internet Explorer, or do I need a decent browser? It does work in Internet Explorer. It just takes it a bit longer to load. Yeah, there it is. So I can now click on Senior Developer, and immediately you see my dashboards are changing however. So now when I show you,
I think you said this will come in the future as possible to add as web part as well, but it's not yet.
The future is now. The future is now. I need to tell you, the Matt was in the holidays for the past 2 weeks for a very good reason, and as long as he was in holidays, things are happening. One of the things that were happening were also there's a Power BI web part included in SharePoint model pages.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So things are happening in SharePoint for me. So now when I showed you this one, this is how our solution has been done. I'm actually going to walk you through creating this solution from the scratch. What I have here is an empty page. Is an empty page, not an empty page. I have data structures here like timesheets, like employee times, and everything else here, but I have no logic here. It's just a normal standard SharePoint site collection, which I literally created a few minutes ago, 23 minutes ago, as you see here, based on the stuff that you see here. So it's an empty SharePoint page. Let me now start creating this solution for you, just to show you how actually to work with those things. So your starting point is my.skybow.com as always, and I'm going here to solutions part. But I already have my solutions. You see there, already some of them. This is time tracking. This is the solution that I was showing you. I'm going to recreate this time tracking solution. I'm going to call it for webinar, and I'm going to take this address as a starting point for my solution. Clicking on start, I'm creating a new timesheet solution, and I'm getting the option to create all those data structures and all this stuff that I was showing you now. This takes now like kind of 10 seconds just to create a solution, and I will be getting very soon a white working area where I can start. So this is my test user. Just ignore the name. My test user and my Bob the builder is telling me, hey, you don't have data structures, you don't have dossiers. As you see here, what you need to start is you need to start working with dossiers. So I can create new SharePoint list libraries from here. I could do that, but I don't want to do that. I'm going because of the time going to use those ones which I pre-created. Timesheet is my master list, is my head list. I'm going to start from there. It will ask me if I do want to change any SharePoint fields in the master list. I'm just going to say, no, I'm fine. I don't want to create any other fields or the other stuff. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to say next. So I'm adding my master detail, master slave relations. I'm adding my slave lists, which are in my case, are first, the most important slave list is my time list. It's called employee time here actually. So then again, I could change those fields in the employee time, but I'm not going to change them. I have those fields here.
And the cool thing is you don't even need to add a lookup to this because it's automatically added in the background.
Yeah.
Normally, with SharePoint standard, you need to add this lookup.
Yeah, if there is a lookup existing, so it will be reused. So you won't be getting two lookups. That would be crazy. But if you don't have a lookup field from employee time to timesheet, it's going to be created.
Yeah.
In my case, I actually already have a lookup pre-created, so it's going to be reused in this case. What do I need now? I have a time, and I need actual documents, and I think I'm actually pretty much, and activities. Okay, let me first change the activity. Take the activities. I do have them here. Yep, there we are. And after activities, I just need to take the documents list. This is standard SharePoint documents library. I'm just going to reuse it for this one. So when I say finish here, I can change the order of those, but I don't want. You can do that also later. When I click finish, the first initial user interface, which includes creating rich forms for us, which includes creating action lists for us, and list view search, that's this stuff that lets you navigate through the list down. It's going to be created for me, and it's all going to be saved. So this takes like good 20 minutes. 20 minutes. No, not that long.
And the webinar is over.
Nah. This takes good 20 seconds actually to be created, and we are going to get initial user interface for this one. Now, so the rich forms have been created in the display form. Display form is now being changed to include action links on this form and on default view. The last thing we are going to be doing is adding list view search on the default view. It's all items view, and then all is going to be saved to the database. Again, this is now this pause of 20 seconds, so you really need to talk clever stuff in webinars while the wheel is spinning. But I think you guys get the point what's happening right now in the background.
And of course, it depends on the speed of SharePoint Online. That is different from day to day. At least
yes,
that's my experience.
I really say that this one, because we created a Contoso tenant here for this, as you see from account, this typical Contoso demo, Maxio demo tenants. They are all hosted in United States data centers, and both Matt and me are sitting in Europe, so there will be a slight latency in all this stuff. But then again, we can live with that. So there we are. We actually got our first initial thing. As soon as it loads until the end. Yeah, give me a second. Need to do. It's still working on it. As I said, this tenant is hosted in the United States. But as you see here, I'll start explaining stuff from here. You see, this is the working area for our dossiers. On the left side, you have the navigation, what all is there in your dossier. We see our timesheets, employee time, activity documents. Up in the top, we see a display form, new form, edit form, all items view, list view, and so we can easily come to the old part of the solution here. And on the right side, this is going to be changed by context as we work with this one. It will look different if you work with display forms as here, or if we here now click on the view, and then we are getting the standard views here, which we can do. So this is my standard view. This is my starting point, as you have seen there. I have two test timesheets open for 6th and 7th calendar week. I have my list view search, which now includes only title. I am actually going to remove this title and to add other fields which are interesting for me. For one, it's an employee. For two, it is week. I can do it here faster than I can do it there. I have employee. I have here week, and as the last one, I want to search by status. So I can always start employee will be equal, week is going to be equal, status is going to be equal, because those are all drop down. Those two are drop down fields. One is lookup and one is choice field, and the employee is anyway going to be people picker field, so we can do that. We can use it as it is. I'm just going to make this whole thing auto filtering, so I don't need to click on the search actually every time. It's going to be filtering as I type. Here on the left side, I have this add timesheets. So this is, if I click here on the add timesheets, you'll see that this action button actually opens a list form for me on the current side for the timesheet, which I need to do. So this is, if you remember what I was showing you here, this is basically, if I go to the home page here, add a timesheet, this would be this form. So let's see actually how to make this form working. And I will come back here and I will go to the timesheet, and this is the new form from here. So this is, I'm actually, you see, this is the standard SharePoint new form. It's grayed out, or better say, it's greened out in my case. So as soon as I click on that one, it's going to unbox the SharePoint form and to create a skybow rich form out of it. And the starting point for skybow rich form is going to be this SharePoint standard form. This is a new form, so we have no total hours. I'm just going to delete it. I'm pressing delete button on my keyboard. And the total to invoice is also calculated field for later. I'm just going to delete it from here. We don't need them in the new form. They don't make any sense. Attachments the same way, I don't need here. So employee, I don't actually want user to have to be to have user entering her or his name. I want this guy here to be pre-populated. So I'm coming here in the behavior of those forms, and I'm saying, hey, on a form load actions, as soon as this form is loaded, I am going to set the value. We are in the new form now. I'm going to set the value of this employee field to my current user, and this is my current user's login name. So this is going to be pre-populated. So since I don't want to users actually to be able to change this, I don't want to create Matt's timesheet. I want actually for my user to make this guy also disabled. So I'm just setting its enable field to false, so this is always going to be enabled. Week, obviously, week is going to have been, user will have to choose the week. We could also do some clever math there to choose, pick up a current week, but for now, let's leave the week open. Status, I'm going also to leave for open, and I'm also going to set this on disabled so that user cannot change the status. The last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to calculate the title. I'm also going to say the title is also disabled. Title is also disabled. There we are. But I want to calculate its value. So I don't want user to type new work week for Addis for this week. I'm just going to say user employee name, and this is it, and slash week value. There we are. So this will be like now Addis Hugo week, and save, and basically I am done with that. I need to save this guy here. There we are. So now when I click here on, yeah, I need to save.
Or just press the play button in Solution Studio.
Oh, I could, yeah, this is a cool thing. You can actually just press the play button as well, as Matt just said. I could also do it here, but this is kind of cooler. So I am starting from a new form. This is not something I should actually be doing. Let me just change this shortly here to all items and make this a home page. Yes, I'm making this a home page, and I'm going to start from here. There we are. I have all those things here. So now when I click here on add a timesheet, okay, failed to execute action, new action. So this is immediately a mistake I made in configuring this form. So let me see, what is this? The only one that could be is actually the form action.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm going to just
form load action, I guess.
it's a form load action, so I'm just going in this case to
This new.
remove this. Let me just remove this from the. I should sometimes really set the field before I set the field value. That could help, I guess. Yes. So as soon as this is saved. So you see, the nice thing when you make a mistake, as I did right now, it tells you where the mistake is, so you go and change, repair the mistake. Bugs happen. As a developer to developer, bugs happen. So now when I say, hey, I want here a new field, there should be no more mistakes. And you see I'm a John Smith here. I'm here titled John Smith /, but as soon as I open the week and I say, hey, it's 8th week of 2017, you see here John Smith 8th 2017. This is exactly what I want to achieve. All the other fields are actually disabled. Once clicking on it, I have this guy open and ready to work with. There we are. So now when I click on this field here, I want first, I have this, this is what has been already created for me when I created dossier. So I have the master data for this field. I have here employee times, I have activities, I have other. So now when I say, hey, add employee times, so this is basically where I'm adding new work for me. This is standard SharePoint form. It has zero calculations, it has zero intelligence for me, and I'm going to change this now to have advanced calculation of this thing. So I'm going back to Solution Studio, and I'm opening actually employee times here. So this is my sublist, and I'm going to the new form of this list. And I'm clicking only to unghost the form and to actually start making this form a bit more intelligent. So what I have here is I will have a title, so I will need the user to enter a title. I will need user, I will have a work week. I will actually want to have work week passed from the parent ID and I will then need to set an employee. I will also need to have employee passed from the parent. I will need to set a customer, project, sub-project, work, start, and end. Let me start from here from projects and sub-projects. Obviously, my sub-projects have projects already there. So if I go to the behavior and I can say for sub-project, hey, please give me only those sub-projects where sub-project title is sub-project project is exactly to form input from project. So only when a user changes the projects, only those sub-projects from that projects are going to be changed. Work is a normal lookup. We have start and end fields. So we have now on billable hours, which are actually end minus start. So how to calculate the bill? How to calculate the hours? I'm going to calculate the fields to the hours, and actually using a calculation formula here. In this one is actually a very simple one. So I'm going to change the to assignment function, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take end date, that's this field, minus start date, it's this field here. I'm getting the seconds out of it to get the hours, actually, because they are represented in seconds internally, and I'm distracting the break hours from that one. So I should actually be in this moment getting a real value from this one. So I'm saving this one. I can really get those hours immediately from. I could build this formula the same way from here. I could say, hey, this is the end date minus start date, whatever, or I could just type this formula as I did above. So this is fine with me. As you see, this is a second type of expression. It's not template anymore. I call it assignment expression. they are very similar to Excel formulas, Excel expressions. As you wanted, you can just type formulas. Just instead of Excel formulas, you use SharePoint data from this side. I'm going to save this one. I have and here I have a bit more math to do. So I'm going again to the calculated region of this one. So what is going here, we will need to use a little bit of JavaScript for this guy here. So to use this, I'm going to switch to function code. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating a small snippet which first checks if billable has been set to true. If billable has not been set to true, the result is going to remain 0. So there's nothing to bill. If billable has been set to true, we are still calculating the hours, but then multiplying the hours with the hourly rate. How do we know hourly rate? We have a work type here. I told you, like a senior developer, architect, whatever that might be. But if you now go here to the work type and you expand this thing, you will see that from this formula builder editor, for our expression editor, you can really access all the fields from that lookup field. And one of the lookup field here is hourly rate. So this is what I have been using this formula. I have actually calculating the hours and then multiplying those hours with the hourly rate. That saving, I will delete the attachments. I can do some more funny stuff here, and one of the funny stuff I always do in those guys is I turn off ribbon menu on the new forms because it's just distracting users. There we are. I'm going to save this form and just start adding this stuff on the in my timesheet. As soon as it's all saved, I think now it's all saved. So if I now click add activities, no, not add activities, sorry, they need to be added automatically. So I now add employee time, add employee time. You see there's no ribbon. And I can start typing those things. My great work. I did not set the week and everything for the sake of the time, but you would get the idea. Contoso. Project will be setting SharePoint infrastructure, and as a sub-project, oh, this one has no sub-project. If I now go to developing Contoso intranet, you will see that my sub-projects are creating navigation, creating information infrastructure, and developing search display templates. If I switch to website, you'll see that I'm getting totally different ones, creating user interface, designing databases, whatever. Work, I'm a developer here. I'm just designing database. I will take my date from today and I will make them also from today. And I will take this 8 p.m. and I will take 8 a.m. and I will take 5 p.m. 0 hours, but billable. And you see I'm getting my prices here. So this all works as it should. One thing I want to do here before moving on is basically I also want to make for validation, very important for me. I don't want end hours being before start hour because I'm getting everything in minus, as you have maybe noticed there. So I need to go here to validation, and I say, okay, this is my validation formula, and this one is actually very simple one. We just need to say that end date plus 0. This is JavaScript. Please don't just is larger than start date to 0. It needs to have a number of values. So, and if it's not, what happens if it's not? We are just going to say here validation text, and it's going to be template. We will say and date. And date needs to be after start date. After I save this, after I now start try to add employee time here, as I want. Before I type anything, I'm just going to change the end date and start date. I'm going to say this is okay. This is today, and this was yesterday. So you see that the numbers are already wrong. If I try to save, it's going to say, okay, it's first telling me that I need to leave this blank. It would also stop me telling me, hey, you need to have an end date and start date actually being after each other. So this is how you can do actually validations, and not only validations. You can also do you can also say things like those. If you have let's say a project, sub-projects needs to be automatically required. So if the project is not entered, then sub-projects also doesn't have to be entered. So you have a dynamically required, you have calculated values, you can see initial values, extended, visible, and so on and so forth. I would like really now, because we are running shortly out of time, to show you how we did actually the batch editing. And I'm actually going to show it to you better here in this Solution Studio, where we have already started here, so that you get the idea how you do all the other stuff. Then we can open a question round and then and do the stuff here. So I'm going actually now to go to the details. Now I'll leave this new form. I'm going to go to the edit form. So what I have done here, I basically went to the edit form, the wrong window. I went here to the edit form, and beside the head data for this week, for this timesheet, I told, okay, I want my user to immediately be able to add and edit his or her work. So I will just go here, go to the sub list, and I say, hey, just please insert me the employee time directly into this form. So after you do this form actually becomes a master-slave relation form where you can edit both head data and child data. So this is initially then how it looks like. And after you have configured it, I have now title, status, employee, and weekend, and I actually have all those times which I can add here for 1 week immediately. If I go here to hours and invoice, the fields here in the child field, when I edit for the whole week, and if I go now here to the rich forms behaviors, you're going to see that for the child field, for the slave table fields, I can do the very same calculations I did for the master field. So I can basically set the same calculated values to hours and invoice here as I was doing it in add new form here. On the bottom of this form, I have total hours and total to invoice for this week. They are, if you go to their calculated values, so they are calculating total hours across the whole sublist timesheet. So it will take the whole sublist, whole timesheet for this week, like here, and this will be hours, obviously. And I can either do some clever math here in the formula windows, or I could just select sum, as I did here in this case. The very same game is, of course, here with the total to invoice. We are just summarizing here invoice instead of summarizing hours. So on the result is basically, if you now go to the this week for this guy John, you can basically do very. I'll open this week. You can do very. Sorry, opening it right now. I need to edit this week. There we are. You can do very interesting stuff which you know from Excel. I can really do things like this. Just take a look at this one. It's cool. I'm just pulling this Contoso Corporation down, or any of field, basically. The fields which are calculated are being calculated immediately, as you see. There's not enough information. You are getting the input. There's not calculation. I can basically pull everything down just here, just to show you how it works. This is very often what we have been all doing as consultants, very similar stuff. So I'm pulling the whole things down. You see the calculations on the right side, they are working. As I'm doing this here, yes, it's all billable, and I want this all to be calculated immediately, as you see here. And I can just put some stuff here which I need to put. See, stuff are being calculated in it. I change here to software architect. This thing works immediately as I expect this to be done. So this is kind of something that I could just then change here the dates basically. So this is the stuff how you can edit coolly on a very cool way to edit the whole week without entering each single of those times as a separate item. But this calculation which I showed you here, it's a front-end calculation, so you are already in the form. So what happens if you want to do this calculation in the background? So if you have been adding, for example, the data to a mobile application, which you might have for this case, then this would not work from here. In order to sort that, we have things called background calculations, which are running server side using either webhooks or remote event receivers. This is something that you can choose as a user. In my case, we actually are using here remote event receivers. So if I will go down to the total hours and the values for this field, you see here I have a total number of the total hours for this timesheet, for those hours. I could even filter it. Let's say I only want to count the total hours that I have been working as a project manager. If I don't put any filter, they're going to get all. And this thing is actually going to be using. No, I'm not going to delete the call. Sorry, I had to click on the wrong one. This thing is going to be using either remote event receivers or webhooks in the background to do these calculations immediately. There's one more thing here which I wanted to actually to show you, which is kind of cool. If you go here on the start page, you see those icons here. So how did we get those KPIs, like icons, like opens, open, closed, whatever? If you go here to the status icon and you open the calculation field of that one, you see that there's a JavaScript function here which basically tells you if the status is open, submitted, info required, approved, or declined, please put the pictures, put the images as you wanted, open, submitted, approved, or declined. So we have a really nice graphical representation of the status of each of those sheets without. It's kind of more user-friendly from this side. The last thing I want to show you before running. No, two more things before opening the questions is the whole submission and approval process. You see here, this guy here is in info required process. Let me open actually this one. I have less data on this one. Let me open this one. This one is on approved. Emily Brown, I'm her superior. Let's say I'm going to use Emily Brown. She has, I think, few working hours here. Yeah, she has 2 working hours. Doesn't really matter now. I want actually. No, I need to be Emily Brown, obviously. So I need to be her. So I still doesn't matter. I'm going to use the first one because we have here. Here we have a kind of check that only you can really send your stuff to approval. So we are going to look what happens when you actually submit this timesheet. When I say submit timesheet, 2 things happen. My manager is going to get email that this timesheet is submitted. This timesheet is actually going to be submitted and it's going to change obviously to submitted state, as you see up here. I cannot anymore add any documents or add any work because it's in submitted state. I can really just wait or hope that my manager approves it or declines it. And since I'm my own manager in this case, so I'm going to approve this timesheet as it is. Next, when I approve it,
and you can set them as well to hidden the links. Now they are disabled, but it's as well possible to set.
I actually left them disabled on purpose just to show how this works.
Right.
So there's nothing else that you can do with this timesheet. Once it has been approved, there are no other buttons. It's an approved stage, and you see here in the visual representation, we are in the approved stage. If you go to activities, you see here, timesheet has been submitted by John Smith, and timesheet has been approved. If I go now to the mailbox here of this guy, you see here, your timesheet John Smith from 2000 has been approved. So I got an email from my manager that he has actually approved my timesheet. Let's just shortly look at the process, how it actually looks like. Submit process looks like following. I'm updating this item to submit it. I have an action called update list item. I'm just telling, hey, this item is now submitted. It all immediately changes everything. I'm adding this activity in the background, in this activities sheet. Here, I'm adding an activity here. I am showing a message that has been submitted, and I'm reloading the form because I want to reload the form because it has been in the submitted stage. When I'm approving the timesheet, I'm doing a few more stuff here. I'm updating it to approved, as you see here. I'm logging that activity as well. I'm sending an email, and this is my email template here. I'm showing again the message, timesheet has been approved, and I'm again reloading the item. There are different type of actions you can use here. You can really add list items, you can delete list items, you can execute, I'm just going to add an empty action without saving it later. You can execute any JavaScript as you might want. You can make an HTTP request, including SharePoint, the REST interface, open list forms, web page, redirect page, send emails. This is what I have been just using, showing messages. You can start workflows in the background. Really, you can just start any workflow from the background. You can update the list item, or you can upload the document. So those are the stuff that you can do with these actions here. Each action, as you see here, can be configured. Let's just take a look at the approved timesheet configuration. I say here, hey, this is only visible. This guy here is only visible if the status is submitted and user is member of the group managers. So if the user is not member of the group managers, this guy is never going to be enabled. So this is how I'm cutting this down to the members of the managers group actually to be able only to approve the stuff. If you take a look at the submit timesheet, we have a different type of conditions here. I was saying this, hey, it is visible only if I am the current user. So if the employee for this timesheet is my current user, so if that's the reason why I could not submit Emily's timesheet, and status is open or status is info required. So on this way, you can really make context-aware and context-sensitive menus on the list on the left side, how actually to guide the user to the process. And yeah, that's one thing. And the last thing I actually say, Matt.
The same is true for the status picture on the details page.
Yeah, true. If you go here for the, you mean here?
Yeah, that's maybe an interesting part.
Yeah, okay. You see 4 pictures here, and there, if you go to the sheet, you see that only one is shown here. Of course, because the only one, all those have a false hidden status. Only one of those will have a status shown based on. Let me just show you this one. So, for example, this one is visible only if status has been submitted. So this is how you can control and the visibility of your forms and show really nice graphics of the processes the guys guiding to the process. The last thing before opening the questions. You have these 2-3 more minutes. The last thing is really I want to show you is why does this guy look so cool here, you see, and this guy here looks not so cool. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it looks less cool than the other guy. The main trick we have here is called I'm going to invoke it from here because I have hidden the menu. I'm going to invoke from here is called our skybow theme designer. So if you open a skybow theme designer, there we go. It's going to be open. I'll see here one of my theme time tracking theme final. You see, obviously I have been using most of them. I can edit this theme just to show you how easy it is really to change the user interface and to make really cool stuff with the data here. It's still configuring it. Let me just open this now. Theme designer is here loaded.
And at the moment, it's not directly available in Solution Studio. It needs to be installed as a separate add-in, but that's just for now.
Yeah, this is going to be integrated in Solutions will be very soon. So if I click here, you see here I have alternating rows, and I see that my alternating row has a background of gray. I can easily change this to background of red. Then my alternate rows are changed red. I can pick up any element here, which I might have, and like for example this one, and I might change the background of the whole area here to light yellow, and you see this is actually happening. The result I'm doing here is a CSS file. So this is my result. This is what's actually going happening here. I'm not going to save this because I don't really prefer yellow and red to be there. Instead of that, I'm going to open the theme designer again. Once when you have designed the whole area, the whole SharePoint, or all things how you want it actually to look like, you can actually just click on a button and apply this theme or deploy this theme, to say better, to all pages in your SharePoint site or any pages you might like. So you can do as I did here. You can deploy it to a master page. So every page is going to inherit this bluish theme. I don't know how to call it. Yeah, let's call it bluish. Yeah, this one. I can apply it only to the specific pages. So I can just take, let's say, side pages, and I can take any pages from the side pages, or I can even open any form from here. Or I can open really lists, activities, and I can apply it only to the all items of the activities list if I want to do, or I can unapply it basically from each page I want to have. So master page is basically my option here because I want this theme actually to be applied everywhere. The result is basically, as you see, the whole thing has been done in less than a day in a very relaxed atmosphere, fully functional timesheet management thing. This is how we have done it with only few lines of the JavaScript code, which I have been showing you in the process here of creating it, and this is being used as it is. Of course, you can now start from that point and change the things here, but this is basically a functioning solution. That being said, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and to lead the Matt moderate the questions and the stuff that goes after that.
Then you can already go then, because there's no questions so far. Only about the recording. Of course, the recording will be there.
Can we be that bad? There is not a single question.
No.
I don't think we have started that much.
I don't know. And if you have questions later on, of course, you can always write an email or just ping us on other channels.
Really? No questions. Then if it's like that, there's a Malte Almating is actually raising the hand to ask the question. I forgot to say that people should be asking the question in the chat window, but I'm just giving the method.
There was just one question coming in. regarding where the Solution Studio is hosted. Is it hosted by you? And yes, the Solution Studio itself, the overview and so on is hosted on our Azure, but the Solution Studio, the solution builder, is really hosted in your SharePoint. If you see into the URL, what Addis is now showing you is your SharePoint's URL, and then it's all in a list called SB Solution Studio. So there is a hidden list in your SharePoint site where the stuff is in there. But of course, for some of the functionality like aggregation and background calculations, we are using a provider hosted.
No, we actually don't. I need to correct you there for a minute. We are actually using webhooks, which are not provider hosted. They are actually also executed in the context of your site. There's only one. There's only one case where we resort to a provider hosted apps, and I'm going to show it now because it's an important question. Your data never leaves your SharePoint. Your data is not routed through us. So the only difference where that might be the case is actually if you go here and things in the background, and now of course now it doesn't want to load. It doesn't matter. I'm going to refresh it. Because webhooks, which we use per default, which I've shown here, are also in your client context. Are not data is not using data is not actually is not leaving your site. This is how webhooks work in nature. You just have an issue that current webhooks in SharePoint Online at the moment take 3 to 5 minutes to fire. So it's okay for most of the purposes. For example, here for timesheet, it doesn't really matter. It's not time critical. It's not time sensitive critical. But for the cases where it would be a time sensitive critical, there is this option, reduce recalculation delay. And this is where we are coming to what Matt just said. Yeah. Then we have a provider hosted app, which then overtakes this case and actually routes a signal that something has been changed to a provider hosted app hosted on our Azure infrastructure. Again, not the data, but the signal that things have been changed. But you need to click this link on a very consent level. So this is not something which is per default turned on. Per default, webhooks are used for calculated values, and the SharePoint webhooks are always executed in the context of your SharePoint page and not of any provider hosted app or any other dislocated app. I hope this could help with the answer.
I think so. And in the meantime, there were coming some other questions,
yes.
Which is cool. One is if there is a possibility to blend in the My Task part on the left side as well on the on-prem skybow Solution Studio. I'm not sure what this means, the My Task. Maybe My Task part on the left side, I don't know. But Solution Studio on-prem and Solution Studio online is a complete different product. So, okay. But this is not, maybe if you mean this one, the My Task, this is for the on-prem product is as well just action links where you can place.
We have them on-prem as well.
Yeah.
We have pretty much the same functionality on-prem.
Yeah, that's possible on these forms, on list views and so on. Just but not with Solution Studio Online. It's with the on-prem product or as add-in. There's a separate add-in called Skybow Action Links. Is exactly what you see here, and you can place it actually anywhere. That's this one. And is there a way of packaging built solutions so I can deploy different tenants? Of course, there will be. Can you please show this for short?
What?
The package possible in Solution Studio.
This one.
Yes. So
it's coming soon.
Yeah, we are working on this. Of course, that's one of the most important future updates we'll bring. So you can package the whole solution and deploy it to several, to different SharePoint Online sites. So yeah, if you have your solution, your product built, and you can deploy it several times, 10 times, 100 times, and so on. That will come soon.
We will be supporting the whole AML cycle, really including the solution updates, solution package, retract and update again, and even solution branching. This will coming the next week, and we are going to start really soon, in a few weeks, with the basic solution packaging and deployment. And this whole packaging story will, with time, will be getting more and more rich and getting more and more functionality. I have seen the plans from our engineering team. I can say I'm impressed.
Yeah, there's regarding packaging, there's another question, if we can say a little bit on how we're going to package, for example, if it's possible to package dossiers separately. So in the first release, the goal is to have just the whole solution, everything you've configured in Solution Studio. So if you have additional lists in the background, I don't know, on your SharePoint site, whatever, they are not packaged. It's only the stuff that you configured in Solution Studio. So as well, forms, actions, list search, dossier, as all in one, and lists, of course, lists with fields. This will be packaged as one package, but it's not yet possible to specify what you want to package exactly. It's just the whole solution for now. That's one
Let's
question.
move on to questions.
And
from Clarius, I will deep dive later. If we can test this, everybody can go to my.skybow.com, register, and for one user it's for free. So there is no trial, there is no demo. It's just go there and register and try this tool, which I have been showing. And this is really easy to happen.
There's another question, if we can use this on-prem. No, unfortunately not yet. So it's Solution Studio Online. What we see here is right now only for SharePoint Online. There are plans to make it available. I mean, building is always on SharePoint Online. We cannot access any on-prem solutions.
But deployment will be probably available.
Deployment will be available probably in the future to build a solution, package it, and then deploy it on-prem.
In the best manner of cross-selling, I want to add that we have an on-prem product, which Malte is mentioning, which actually has even more feature than this one. It's maybe does not look so coolly fancy as this one does, because this is a newly built on the newest style sheets. But our on-prem feature, which is the full trust code, which is the old WSP, have beside those features which you have seen here, which are all present also there, have much more other features, which will be gradually also adding to this one. But our on-prem product, skybow Solution Studio Server, remains one of the two flagships that this company is going to run. I can also buy Diego so similar things as on-prem solutions now. As that is no longer dependent on BI, Power BI features, because it's now a standard SharePoint web part. Did I get you that? Yes, unfortunately only for SharePoint Online. Microsoft is sometimes going to push the whole modern stuff to the SharePoint 2016. This is going to come to some of the feature packs of SharePoint 2016, but please don't squeeze my hand. Nobody knows when Microsoft is going to do that. So the embedding Power BIs in SharePoint pages at the moment feature of SharePoint Online, and even there only in the modern pages. So and this is how it is.
And this is as well pointing to the last question I can see for today regarding if it's possible to edit the forms within the mobile view. So mobile view is something, at least the mobile view that is right now, not with the modern pages, but the current mobile view we know from SharePoint 2013 or 2007. This is something different. These mobile views is not.
These are not really worked on anymore, even by Microsoft. So what we are going to do is, as soon as Microsoft opens the APIs for the modern pages in SharePoint Online, and if you guys have been looking, for example, Yeah, this, let me start from here. This is, for example, a modern page. This is how the modern pages look like. Lists in the modern pages have different rendering than the lists in the standard SharePoint. The lists in the modern pages are automatically mobile ready, without any mobile views, without any whatever. So as soon as Microsoft opens the APIs for the mobile lists, and we know now for sure, and Microsoft didn't publish that, we know the methodology that Microsoft is going to use for this mobile for the mobile views on the modern pages. We are going immediately or very soon after opening this support those modern pages, and which are reactive and responsive by default. So there is actually no need for us to target the mobile views, which is technologies from 10 years ago. We are going to target technology which is coming, which is actually already there, but without APIs, and whose APIs are coming in the next few weeks. And we are actually going to start supporting that very soon after they appear on the market.
Good. I think these are all the questions.
Thank you much. We even had a great, thank you very much. Can we repeat? Can we do this again? Yeah, each time you want us to do that again, just give us a ping us and we are going to be there. Matt, do you want to close?
Yeah, thanks to you, Aris, for the preparation for everything. It was a good one, and thanks to all the attendees for staying with us and having all these questions.
We are going to be sending the videos, and as much as I know, we are going to be sending these PowerPoint with how we did the things, because I think this is pretty useful. We have a PowerPoint here which how we did it. So I think you guys will all be getting this very soon.
And yeah, with the Q&A section, of course, so you can read everything there once again. So yeah, let's close.
Any more questions? Support with skybow.com. We do answer even after the work times. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.